The Carolina Panthers had a chance to get it done. They needed three things to go right. And unfortunately, only one of those things came out. Well, one of them was unfortunate. And unfortunately, it's not going to give us the division title after our tie-up with the Seattle Seahawks. Which bodes well because there could be a possible return for one of our big guns up front. Meanwhile, this game also proved costly as we lost one of our guns. On this 2025 home game season finale on this edition of Growlin' and Prowlin'. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this 2025 home season finale edition of Growlin' and Prowlin'. Again, you are joined by the one and only Mr. CeeLo. And Panther Nation, I gotta tell you, this one hurt. And it's rather painful. Because we didn't play like the effing man. But I tell you who coached like the effing man right after we have a word from our sponsor.
He builds it, fixes it, lifts it, breaks it, then builds it again. The world calls him a man. We call him an effing man. TF Man, the lotion made for hands that earned it. Crafted from grass-fed tallow, squalene, and grit. No flowers, no fluff, just results. TF Man by LV. You guys know what kind of man a TF man is? He's the man that gets it done. Just like me. Just like you. The one who doesn't need a filter. Like Mr. CeeLo. The one who doesn't need a hashtag or permission. He's not just a man. He's the effing man. And now he's got the lotion to match. What? TF Man, the whipped tallow cream from LV. Made from grass-fed beef tallow, squalene, and true grit. No chemicals, no perfume, just hand-earned hydration. For hands that build, lift, and live. Make sure you guys go online and check this out. Guys, I'm going to put the QR code up there on the screen. And if you guys put in the code FRIENDS20, you get 20% off your first order. Make sure you go over to their website. And guys, let me tell you, as a man that loves to look awesome and smell fabulous, this is perfect. I have been using it a couple of weeks, you guys, and I'm going to tell you, every time I get out the shower, I got to put it on my face and I got to put it on my hands. Because when you start getting to be my age, you got to start protecting all this, you guys, because guess what? The ladies not only like for you to look fabulous, they also want you to smell terrific. Because you don't want to just be the man. You want to be the effing man.
Mike McDonald of the Seattle Seahawks head coach, and you could possibly call him the defensive mind of this tricky defense and very good and fast defense. He coached like the effing man. But before we get into it, guys, I want to once again wish you guys a Merry Christmas and an early Happy New Year, safe, as the temperatures are plummeting here in the South. So I hope you guys all stay warm. If you get an opportunity to stay inside, please do. But I want to go ahead and thank some of you guys I even had a little bit, if you guys noticed, I had a little bit of bickering going on my channel as, listen, Seahawks fans, listen, if you listen to the game, I didn't have a whole lot to say about what we could do to win this game against you guys. Some of y'all took it personally and you were clowning me, which is fine. That's okay. I hope you come over here, which I don't think you will. But I have an all-access that I do called Gridiron Gab Pro Style. So if you guys want to see what I think about yours and the 49ers and the Rams' chances of winning the Super Bowl or going deep in the playoffs, please make sure you go over and check that out. I will be doing a show later on this week about that matchup that you guys will have coming, which I thought, by the way, you guys should have been a Sunday night game, not the Ravens and the Steelers. That's going to be a boring game. But enough of that. I had a couple of of you guys from Seattle land and even San Francisco coming in here, and said, "What happened? Ha 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 ha." You guys had us. I never made no bones about it. If you guys saw the end of the show, that's what I said. This aged well. I don't get it, Jose. I mean, the title of it said, "Ways the Panthers upset the Seahawks." Just as it says. Dreaming. What am I dreaming about? Fun? Nothing. It is what it is. Seattle equals Road Warriors. Go Hawks. That's by Jeff. Yeah, Jeff. You guys travel well. You're a crazy good football team, despite the fact that Sam Darnold's not always at his best. I admit that. Randy says Seahawks. How the question is, the big question, how good is the Panthers O-line? Apparently not good enough for Dave Canales to trust us throwing the ball down the field. Which, in retrospect, Seahawks fans, we were getting behind your guys. So, I believe if Robert Hunt plays in this game, it's a totally different element. Now, don't get me wrong, you got a couple guys that whipped up on Ike Ekwonu, and even Taylor Moton at times. But yeah, let's get into it. Get back to this and get you guys comments. And Randy said, "Big question." I got that one. Miguel says, "Hope and pray that the West Coast team play the early morning game on the East Coast helps." Well, Miguel, you got a point there, but that's the same narrative that when an East Coast team goes west to play late at night, so or even 4 o'clock. So yeah. McDonald has a crazy good record on the road, unfortunately. Yep, that came from GG. Absolutely, he's good. I mean, he's great defensive mind. I give him that. Nope, Seattle's 12-1 on the road, going back to last year. Johnny Balls said that. Hey, listen, when you're right, you're right. And I make no bones about it. Mike McDonald is a good coach. He knows what he's doing. But unfortunately, when you get into the playoffs, those mistakes that Sam Darnold made can hurt you. Let's see. Napalm. 49ers fan here. I will be rooting hard for Carolina in about 4 hours. Let's go. Thank you for that, Napalm, dog. Appreciate it. I mean, and listen, realistically, I've got Seattle fans on here angry at them. I mean, let's keep it real. What are you supposed to do? That's a rival. You can't get salty about that. And that, come on now. And then Chosen said the Bears going to put BTA on the liners tonight. That's why you over here rooting for the Panthers. Come on, Cho. You can't be hating on the guys. They're supposed to do that. You are mad at your... No, come on, Napalm. We're not going to do that. We don't do that here. We don't do that here. I mean, I don't mind the healthy dialogue, but the name calling, let's not do that here. Matt says, haha, you better focus on beating the Bears. Bears 35, 49ers 10. Matt, you were incorrect on that one by a large margin. So, yeah. Paul Broken Lonely said, let's go, Panthers, get this win. Thank you all so much for the comments. And for my other fans, my 49ers, Rams, and my Seahawks fans, go over to my All Access NFL channel, Gridiron Gab Pro Style, and check out my show over there. Not much content on the Seahawks and the Rams, but a lot of content on the 49ers. But I am going to do better if you guys jump over there and subscribe to that show. But thank you for getting in the inbox, as I said. Always good to see fans from other fan bases come over here, even though they troll. But Panther Nation, this game hurt. Because no matter what, a Seattle fan's going to say that we had no shot. And I disagree. I've watched this game back to front. And needless to say, this is not a good situation for us. Because a lot of people are not going to see this as we had an opportunity. And I'm not talking about when the game kicked off, Seahawk fans. Because ultimately, anybody that's a Seahawk fan that watched this game realizes that the same mistakes that happened upon them could come back to haunt them later. And to me, I want to attack Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold went 18 of 27, 147 yards. Now, he put the ball in the air 27 times and had an interception and arguably could have had 2 more. Now, the one with Derek Brown was a little bit more difficult to corral. But that one, J.C. Horn got knocked up in the line of scrimmage earlier today. You absolutely got to come up with. And you could argue there was another one that Mike Jack knocked up in the air. He had a great game, and he's been playing out of his mind for the last 8 games. And I'm just going to say it. There was a lot of people like Julian Council who said, oh, this outside of J.C. Horn, nothing just blows me away about this secondary. Mike Jack has figured out his niche. And I'm going to be honest with you. Dan Morgan, get ready for an extension. Go ahead, get the extension now. You hear me right here. And I can guarantee you Seattle fans are looking over there wondering, heck, how did we let this guy go? Mike Jack's not going to be the guy that jumps off the page when it comes to speed, but he is absolutely got the length to absolutely harass guys. He can take 8, 9, 10 yards of space, and if you try to run up to him, he's going to eat that space up and use his length to get on you. So, as I said, Sam Darnold did enough. He didn't hurt him, and this is the problem I have with so many people that have an issue with Bryce. Sam Darnold does a lot of things that can hurt you as a team, but then the other thing is the Seahawks coaching staff allows him to go down the field and get these games back. Whereas Dave Canellis is still trying to figure out, you win big games by taking big shots. You can't just beat a team nickel and diming your way down the field unless that's the plan. Teams are still not sold on Bryce getting the ball up the field or even you calling a game plan where you're going to get it up the field. They're thinking you're going to run the ball. Now, a lot of people are saying, okay, Rico Dowdle had 12 carries, 59 yards, averaging almost 5 yards a carry. But we got to think there were 2 big runs in this game. There was an 11-yard run and a 9-yard run in this game. So that's 20 yards on 2 carries. So you think about 10 carries for 39 yards. So that's 3.9 yards a carry. So I want people to remember, they're saying we should have ran it more. We abandoned it. But realistically, we didn't abandon it. The Seahawks were really not allowing us to run the football. And Seahawks fans, when y'all watch it, I must commend you on your open field tackle. We would get guys like Chuba, Dowdle, Jimmy Horn out in open space. Y'all tackled them. Even Tommy Tremble at one point tackled him. Tedroy McMillan tackled him. And I don't understand for the life of me why Canellis, when he saw that pump and go with Jalen Coker, and he didn't beat him that bad. But the fact that Bryce nearly delivered that thing right to him, and that the Seahawks were biting on everything close, there ain't no way I'm not going back to it. Because, I mean, you even look at the way Julian Love, former Notre Damer, Julian Love intercepted that pass that Bryce threw. What that was a young quarterback staring down Tedroy McMillan and a veteran, and Julian Love basically looking there saying, uh-oh, there he goes. He left his guy, and if I recall correctly, it was either Jimmy Horn or it was Chuba out of the backfield. It was one of the two. But he was taking the guy in the flat because that was all they were giving up. But Bryce kind of stared T-Mac down. Now, if he had looked over here and then went there, boom, wide, right there. Boom. Let's see. Bryce never looked him off. And see, that's where Bryce is going to grow. To me, that was one of only one mistake he really made all game. And you got people ready to roast him and say, well, he threw for 54 yards. The game plan was horrible. You basically hoped that you were going to be able to run this ball against the Seattle Seahawks. And the Seahawks gave you that first run. And I guess you could argue that maybe Jatavian Sanders was a huge part of this game. I mean, we could argue that point because it seemed like after that first play, it was done. I don't know. And maybe that's something Canellis will tell us in the later days, because following this game, he basically said this was just going to be one we throw in the trash can and we get ready for Tampa. I'm a firm believer you're going to need this game. And a lot of people are going to say, well, how come? Because you have to learn to turn turnovers into scores. You have to have that in your repertoire. I love the fact that you ran Mitchell Evans under center on fourth down to get first down, which was very close. But when you look at this, Coker, 2 for 16. Jimmy Horn, 2 for 9 yards. Tommy Tremble, 1 for 6. And T-Mac, 1 for 5. Mitchell Evans, 1 for 5. And then Leggett had 1 for 3, including a huge, just an absolute huge offsides penalty. I mean, lined up in the neutral zone. Tremaine had a pretty good catch, but they said it wasn't a catch. But, anybody that wants to continuously blame this on Bryce, then obviously you didn't watch the game. I've heard so many people say, the offensive line is pretty good. No, the line had Bryce running, sir. I beg to differ. They did a decent job, but there were too many times when Bryce wanted to either take a shot or his read wasn't there and he had to run out. This is something else that's driving me nuts right now. Why do we only have a handful of guys coming back to Bryce when he scrambles? The problem I'm having is there is no real scramble drill for Bryce. I don't understand that. And it looks like the same old thing, guys close up underneath. There's got to be a way that there's some guys getting open down the field. You're not going to sit here and have me believe that everybody's either close or nobody's gotten open. As easily as you guys be getting open when Bryce scrambles in the red zone, which, by the way, was a great decision by Bryce to take that thing in, because the Seahawks had that thing sealed up. And you could tell Bryce was looking, and the Seahawks was just like, you got to take this, brother. And, of course, he did, which is what I have a problem with Panther Nation. If Bryce is having to take this thing in, at some point y'all got to admit, look, he can't do it with the type of play calling he's getting right now. Canellis has not called a really good game plan since we got to go all the way back to Bryce's 420-yard game, where he was wanting us to throw it all over the yard. This was a game right here we could have threw it all over the yard. But you didn't have enough faith in your lineman. Now, I get it. There's a possibility that Robert Hunt plays, and you guys know I will have a show out before we have that showdown against Tampa Bay on Saturday. That's right, Saturday at 4:30. We've got to tighten up the 163 yards. I'll just say 161 yards we gave up on 34 carries, y'all. Yeah, that reared its ugly head again. It reared its ugly head yet again, you guys, that running game. And I'm going to tell you so, Coach Avero, he better be looking. And see, everybody wants to talk about how good the defense played. You didn't play that well when you're sitting there giving up 161 on the ground. See, everybody ignored that because you had the two fumble recoveries and the interception. Come on, man. Come on now. You got to do better than that. You can't sit there. I'm sorry, it was only one fumble. And realistically, look, you can call it what you want. When the turnover battle is tied 2-2 and you lose by 17 points, there's two problems here. We can sit here and say the defense played a good game. No, they generated turnovers. Okay? We can say they generated turnovers, but you can't just outright say that they played great, because they did not. They had some big plays, and this is what Panther Nation we're going to have to deal with. I think this is what kind of defense we're going to have, because it's starting to show that we're one of those teams that is going to be, big plays and big yardage. It's looking as though we're going to be one of those high risk, high reward type defenses, which I'm okay with, as long as we're okay with that. I'm okay with high risk, high reward defenses. But you got to give our defensive line a lot of credit. They got their hands up, they got their mitts up, and they knock passes down. That is immense. Guys like Derek Brown, who's made that a career the way he's played, getting his mitts up there, knocking balls down. And needless to say, this is what we got to have, especially going into the playoffs when you get guys like Matt Stafford who love to eat up the center of the defense and that down that short middle. It's absolutely massive. You got to be able to do that. And you look at Bobby Brown, DJ Wonnum, getting their mitts up on passes. I said Derek Brown got his hand on one, but no, several times he got his hands up as balls was whizzing by. So needless to say, I saw that a lot. You know, if he just gets his mitts on one or two of those, that's a huge difference. But Nick Scorton is still playing out of his mind, looking really good. Had a sack in this game along with Trayvon Moehrig. Had one of 3 sacks along with DJ Wonnum. I guess many people will say he's playing for next year, just picking up his 3rd sack of the year. But I have a feeling that his days are numbered because more than likely the Panthers are going to take one of those big edge rushers in this coming draft. And I hope they do. I'm looking at the draft head-on, guys. So I will, whether our season is over next Saturday or in the coming weeks, I'll be letting you guys know who we honorably should be looking at. Because we definitely need to get a big guy on that edge. If DJ Wonnum's been a breath of fresh air for what he's been paid for, but unfortunately he has not panned out as that big time free agent pick. Maybe they can bring him back for a lot less money, and as a body, maybe that'll work. You never know. We still got Isaiah Simmons, who was able to get in there and make a tackle. I think it was on special teams. I don't think we got to see him have any. I would love to see this guy get out there and get another shot out there at edge rusher on third and longs, but we got to get in those situations because Simmons was a guy that did that as a specialty out there in Arizona, and he's actually very successful. But you heard me go on and rant about that. But Princely Emmanuel, outside of having a couple of really bad spots where he's trying to shoulder block guys instead of wrapping up, that's probably my biggest knock on him. Bobby Brown once again performing excellently in the absence of Turk Wharton, but then A'Shawn Robinson, 9 tackles. Tristan Roseboom, we had about 3 or 4 misses. Mike Jackson ended up with 11 tackles on the day. Derek Brown once again with 6. Cam Jackson, what did I tell you guys? Now a lot of y'all are going to say, well, we lost. Listen, Cam Jackson's going to be a stud. If we can keep him healthy, and look, this is where I got a problem with Coach Avero. Look, your starters on that front 3, arguably, A'Shawn, Bobby Brown, Derek Brown. Turk Wharton only needs to be in there on 3rd down. He don't need to be in there on run plays. Period. Only run plays. That's just what I'm saying. That's the only answer to this that needs to be talked about. But you had Derek Brown, Cam Jackson, and A'Shawn Robinson all combined. That's a lot. And then, like I said, you had very little Lathan Ransom in this game. Really, like I said, what I was probably more impressed with was the fact that the Seahawks and McDonald wanted to control the clock. And they did just that. I think ultimately they basically ran the clock out, knowing that they did not need to give us a lot of opportunities to make plays or get our offense going. I think they felt like, look, if we keep them down, the fewer opportunities we give this offense and Dave Canellis to look at this defense, the fewer chances he's going to get to figure it out. And it proved, 19-10 on first downs. Seattle 9 of 16 on 3rd downs. There you go. We 1 of 11. Granted, we were 2 of 5 on 4th down, but I mean, don't do you a bit of good when you're in 3rd and longs and 4th and mediums. You want to get 4th and very shorts. And like I said, you had Sam Darnold throw for 125, and Bryce threw for 40. Well, the passing offense only had 40 yards. A lot of that's Dave Canellis. When you get out there and you don't have nothing, and you have to check it down, That's on Canellis. Because, look, you can't have checkdowns and you're only running 8, 9-yard routes. It's just common sense. Can't do that. And then you get the one throw down the field to Coker. He draws an old PI. I mean, excuse me, a DPI. Where's that aggressive mindset right there? And your offensive line has done a pretty good job against the blitz, this year. As long as Bryce doesn't get crazy holding the football. Just find the open guy and go to him. That's where I'm at with it. Like I said, Corbett's done an admirable job, but we still got issues. On occasion, Moton gets beaten around the edge, and on occasion, Aquano gets beaten around the edge. Now, I know what people are going to say. That tends to happen. But we've dragged out, I think, 12 different starting lineups on this line. And we need to watch and monitor practice tomorrow and Wednesday very closely, because hopefully Robert Hunt is going to be able to do what he does. If we get Hunt back, you guys, that is massive for Week 18. I know a lot of people are going to say, well, he ain't played since, what, Week 5? Might be. But I can tell you one thing. He is going to be hungry. He's already a Pro Bowler. All it's going to take him is maybe a quarter, maybe 2 to get himself back on. But we'll see. We'll see. But let us finish this up. As I said, 6 red zone attempts for the Seahawks. 3 came in turned into scores. Panthers only 2. They only scored once. And as I said, the 34-minute to 25, nearly 26-minute time of possession is not nearly as bad a picture as indicated. You look at this game and you think to yourself, wow, this was an absolute disaster. And really it wasn't that horrible. So, Panther fans, I know you're thinking 17 points. This is a horrible statistic. But then, once again, it lays back on Canellis. And J.C. Horn's got to own the fact you got to intercept that pass. And, yeah, that's what it boils down to. We have to turn turnovers into points. And as I said, congratulations. You hung with the number 1 seed for about 2 quarters, and then they put a 24-point onslaught on you, courtesy of your 2 turnovers. And courtesy of your inability to capitalize on their turnovers. If there was one thing that we failed at horribly in this one, that we did not fail at against the Rams, is turning turnovers into points. Now, given you did have a Mike Jackson pick 6, but realistically, that's what we're going to need. This defense has got to think points, unless Dave Canellis has a game plan that's not going to be made up of run, short pass, run. But we still have not seen Xavier Legette take the ball on the end around. We haven't seen enough of Jimmy Horn Jr. in the running game. I don't think we have not seen him enough. We didn't see him in this game. We saw him go down the formation a couple times. Well, he did get one, and it's considered a pass. That was that one where Jimmy Horn got that thing, and oh my goodness, it was just an exceptional tackle. Mike McDonald's team, they tackle well. And like I said, if we get our guys to tackle that well, yeah, I think that needs to be a huge part of the football team next season, is making tackles such as that. That's just absolutely very professional and very hard to deal with. But as I said, guys, I appreciate all of my Seahawks, all of my 49er and Ram fans that came up in here and commented on the show. As I said, make sure you go over to Gridiron Gab Pro Style and keep an eye out over there. I will have content over there for some of you guys as you guys are getting ready to head into the playoffs and your big matchup one-on-one on Saturday night. But as far as Panther Nation goes, guys, I appreciate y'all. Y'all make sure y'all put y'all's names down in the comments and where you're located if you are first-time viewers. Secondly, make sure you hit that bell notification as well as hit subscribe and the thumbs up button so we can continue to grow into the Growling and Prowling family and spread it all over. Next, go over to Facebook and join the Facebook group, Growling and Prowling, as well, and add us as a friend. Finally, go over to my Instagram and make sure that you check me out at Mr. CeeLo so you can keep up with all my in-season and off-season shenanigans I will be caught up in. Oh, one last note. Go over to Lumabita and check out the great deals they got for your lady and for yourself. But until the next time, don't forget to leave your mark while prowling the air and growling out. Pounding!